All right, how's everybody doing tonight? I want to welcome you to the Chop Shop. Give it up. Yeah. Yeah. We are excited here tonight. We are very excited to present to you the Chop Shop. What is the Chop Shop? Well, it's the Pulse's version of a talk show. It's real ministry for a real world. And what we're doing is we're going beyond these four walls with really just pertinent information for everyday life. Ways to deal with situations, circumstances, everything that we all deal with. We're going to bring it to the table. We're going to chop it up through God's word and through experience. And we're going to help one another get further along. Amen? Amen. Is that all right? Well, the first thing that I want to do, we have a real special guest here. This gentleman, he is an integral piece to everything that takes place behind the scenes here. Integral piece of the tech team. He's a great young man. He's got an aspiring comedic career. And he's got a particular situation that he and I were talking about a little bit that I felt that was going to tie in. It was real hand in glove with what we're talking about here, which is desire and your dating ID. And finding how all of these things tie in together. So without any further ado, I want to introduce to some, present to others, my man, Mr. Adam Brewer. Give it up for Adam Brewer. How you doing, boss man? You good? You good with a handheld?
I think so.
I know you big time Showtime guy.
That's right.
This guy's in showbiz. Well, Adam and I were talking, and he was telling me about something that he experienced within a relationship. And so I wanted to give him the opportunity to talk a little bit about that and take you through some phases, because I think what he ended up getting out of this was a revelation that I think everyone can get value from. So if you would, brother, can you go ahead and set the table, give us a little bit of background, not only on yourself, but on this particular relationship that you had with this young lady, and the beginning piece of it.
All right. Well, this girl, for most of my life in general, you know, my parents weren't real big on me dating. They're like, just have a good time, blah, blah. They were horrible at marriage. They've both been through 3. So they're not the greatest examples in the world. And they're like, Adam, just enjoy your life. There's not a big pressure growing up. So I took it like that. I never really developed any type of real relationship skills. You know, it's always just been me. If somebody did something I didn't like, I was like, I'm out. I'm only in high school. I don't got to worry about it. So regardless, I've developed a certain skill set in meeting new people or whatever. And it's never really been that big of a deal. Then I had already been married, got a horrible divorce. That's another chop shop thing we'll go over or whatever. But that one was crazy. But so anyways, I'm back in Phoenix with my son finally, getting everything back online. And I'm working at Frontier Airlines, and I see this girl. And I mean, when I see this girl, like, boom, like, I couldn't take my eyes off of her, even if I had wanted to. Like, it was not going to happen. Like, I thought the Lord was like, this one right here, if you don't get to know this one, you're crazy. I did everything I could. I mean, I was like a dancing monkey. I would have swung from ceiling. I don't care what it was. I was going to get this girl's attention. Finally, I did. She'd been going out with the guy for a while. And she was breaking up with him. He's moving away, whatever. And finally, we got a chance to date. And in between that time, I became really, really close to her. You know, just being that guy friend that she would turn to, which should have never done it. But I don't know. I wanted to be around her. It was just, I'd never really felt that way before, other than my ex-wife. Like, whatever. I had to be around this girl. It was like heroin. I was like, boy, we got to get this fixed today. I'm picking up extra shifts. I'm talking people to going home early so I could take the rest of their shift. Whatever it took, I was going to hang out with this girl.
So how long was it that things were going real good?
Well, I would say things never really went all that great, just because she was never done with her ex-dude. Like, he left, things, whatever fell apart. That's not my story to tell. And I felt, this was probably wrong of me. I felt it was my turn. I was the friend, I hated friend zone. I'm usually not the shoulder you come crying to, but I did all that, and I sacrificed a lot of wants and desires to be that for her. So I was like, this is my shot, and that's how I approached it, which was wrong, like wrong.
Talk about the bad a little bit, though. Talk about when it started to really go bad.
Well, okay, day one. No, now it was the fact that I started wanting things more than what she did. And I guess it had always been that way because I was, like I said, I was picking her kids up from school. I was spending as much time as I possibly could to be or to show her that I was everything that guy wasn't, which then I completely lost what made me me. Like, I was trying to become what she wanted me to fit into, and that's just, I don't fit well into boxes. I can't. That's what ruined my ex-wife and me, and but because I was a mama's boy, I always felt like I needed to save, take care of, do all that stuff, and that's, instead of being who I am and using that to be like what initially attracted her to me, I started becoming everything she wanted me to be because that's what I kind of felt I should do, I guess. I don't know, it's kind of weird.
How's it making you feel inside? I mean, what are some of the feelings?
Horrible. Like, I was doubting myself because I was trying to play by a whole set of rules that I didn't know. I was trying to play a game that I didn't know the rules to. I was trying to be this. Oh, if I do this, will she like? Oh, I know I can do this. She'll love me this way. Or, oh man, I'm doing this. She's got to see how great I am if I'm doing it this way. Why is she not seeing how great I am because I'm doing it this way? And it was driving me nuts. And I was starting to get insecure about who I am and just how I was treating her. And just the relationship in itself just started to go right down the tank. And when that happened, so especially for me, like I said, it was like love heroin, you know, and then things started to break apart, and then you're like, oh, what is going, I want to be there, I want to be in your life, but because things aren't working right, you don't want to be here. What do I do to make you be there? You know, you just don't know, and it destroyed things between us. And what I was taking away from what my focus was in life, and what God was trying to tell me to be, all because I was so focused on trying to earn her love that I had completely turned my back on what he had focused on me and wanted me to do and was telling me to do the whole time. I was just blind to it.
Talk a little bit about that, because in the midst of the wheels coming off the machine,
Right.
proverbially, in this relationship, God started to reveal something to you about your purpose in life. And talk about that a little bit real quick.
So I would say because I don't know, my parents were divorced or whatever, I developed being funny. Like, that's how I dealt with being sad or making friends or whatever. And being the oldest, I had to be the guy who made the friends so I could protect my little a-hole brother who wanted to fight everybody. But, you know, I had to protect him. So that was my job. So I was the funny guy and I was the athlete. So it all kind of worked out. And everybody was like, you should be a stand-up comedian. You should totally do it. And I'm like, forget it. And things are going bad with her, and I don't know, I said something funny to somebody, and like, you should really go do that. There's an open mic or whatever. And I'm like, whatever. And I'm going home, and I'm having those talks with God, and I was listening to something, and I was like, man, I'm tired of where I'm at. I'm tired of hating my job. I'm tired of never feeling like everything I do is just pointless. I'm getting bored. And with me, I can't be bored. Like, I usually can make entertainment out of anything, but I had hit that wall, and I was like, man, I can't take this anymore. I don't know what I'm doing. What am I missing? You know, my dad's a preacher, and he's like, the Lord has something for you. You just have to find it. You just have to listen. And I'm like, well, why is he not telling me? Like, what's going on? I need to know this. And then I just was like, okay, you know what? I'm just going to do comedy. Forget it. I want to give it a shot. And it just hit me like that. I don't know why I was thinking comedy. I don't know why, anything. It was just, try stand-up. Do it. And I was like, man. I was like, okay, fine. And more to, like, thumb my nose at God to be like, see, told you I suck at this. There's no way I'm going to be able to do this. You're wrong. I'm right on this one. I know it. I went up there, and I did it for the first time, and I don't want to sound boastful, but I believe it.
Well, here, let me go ahead and toot your own horn for you. Pastor Dion and I were there that night. Adam's first night doing stand-up. The room was packed. And because of the number of people who had come to see Adam perform that night, they bumped him to the main spot. They bumped him to the last comic. So you've got guys who've been doing comedy for years going up before him, but because of the number of people who had come to see Adam, they put him in prime time. And my man absolutely wrecked shop. It was hysterical. People were rolling. I mean, it was the crowd went bananas. So I mean, it had to feel amazing to see how things kind of worked out.
Well, it did, because about 5 minutes before they called my name, I was in the bathroom looking in the mirror like, okay, I can just run, right? No one here is going to blame me if I just run. Like, they're never going to know. Like, where's Adam? I'll be Carl Lewis right down Scottsdale. And I was like, man, a lot of it is just, for me, it was a defining moment. Either I'm going to let this moment define who I was as a person and just be like, yeah, you're right. Okay, devil, everything that everybody else has ever said about me is just true. I'm just not going to do it. I'm not good enough to do it, whatever. And I was like, I'm not going out that way. Like, I'll go out not making one person laugh all night long rather than running away and hiding from it. Because at least this way, a no's a no, and that's cool, but I can't live with regret. Like, I can't look back on my life and be like, well, what could have been if I would have just taken the step to even just say one line.
And it was shortly thereafter that God pretty much confirmed for you that this was part of your purpose and calling, yes?
Yeah, see, that night was great, and then it was bad kind of as well, because she was there. And we'll call her Jemima just because I can't use her real name, because if you did, people might know her. Well, it's a friend's name. So it's a friend's nickname.
Sue, Barbara?
No, it's Jamie. But Jamie. We just call her Jemima. So anyways, so Jemima was there, and she knows me. Like, we are so close. She knew everything about me. So she knew right when I got there I was nervous. She knows how to calm me down. And I was like, see, Lord, this is exactly why we work. Let's get her out of whatever she's doing. Let's just get to this successful relationship stuff. And apparently I was staring at her the whole time I did my comedian thing. I was like, all right,
am I being funny?
Okay. But at the end of it, it was cold on her and me like, ee! And I was like, driving home once again, and I was talking to God, and I was like, man, why? Like, I don't get it. Like, I'm doing everything I can. Why am I keep having this conversation with you? Why is it always this way with her? Why do I love her, she does not love me? Why does that work like that? I don't get it. And I just happened to be listening to Steve the Rage Hage on CD. He was here about a couple months ago. And he was talking about how, he was in Africa, I believe, and he was talking to a witch doctor's son who became a pastor and had a whole big church down there. And he was talking to him about his troubles in, California, wherever he's from. And the witch doctor, the son of the witch doctor, his dad cut off all his fingers on one hand, just because of whatever gods or whatever they do, whatever black magic they thought would bring them luck or rain or whatever. And he told Steve, he said, Steve, until you can see God in everything, you can see God in nothing. And like, that hit me, and I was like, and then I just started to see the things that the Lord was showing me about her that wasn't jiving, that wasn't with what I thought it was. I was so like this, like, make her true, make it true, make it true, looking, nope, make it true, 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 make it true. That he was like, no, look, this is not what you need. She is great in all this, but in the things you need her to be, she is just not that.
Tell him what he told you. Tell him the phrase that.
Well, they're okay. Let me set it up by saying I've only heard God tell me three things, like clear as if David was talking to me right here. Two things before this one happened. One, when I knew that my wife was pregnant, I just baby just hit me right in the head. And then I was laying on my carpet in my new house, looking around like, oh, we made it. Like, God, me and Autumn made it. Just made it. And then I heard she's going to leave. And I was like, what? Like, she's going to leave. And anytime God tells me anything within days, that happens. Like, just that's how I know it's him, that I'm just not crazy. Because within days, that stuff happens. And he told me she was going to leave. 2 weeks later, she was like, I want a divorce. That's whatever. But, so, I'm sitting there and I'm like, starting to see this stuff. And he said, you will never be you if she stayed.
Say that again.
You will never be you if she stays.
One more time.
You will never be you if she stays. Got all very white on me. Hey, that must be right. So I was like, man. And I didn't want to hear that. I was like, no, I'm sorry. Did you not see the comedy thing? Like, she knew me. Right. I felt the zing. What? You get what? I heard in the movie you only get 3 great ones in your life. I got no more coming. What are you talking about? That can't be right, man. Either the movie lied to me or you're filling me full of something I don't want to know. So I was like, I was like, okay. I go, well then, if I can't be me, and I didn't really know what it meant at the time, but I do now, because I was so focused on her that I was never going to try anything else. I was never going to try anything to make myself the great thing that he created me to be. Like, he gave me this skill set for a purpose. And me focusing all my attention and all my time on her, it was never going to happen. I was going to be Jemime's husband or nothing, and I was more happy being nothing than ever, which was completely ridiculously retarded. Like, I don't even know what I was thinking now. But yeah, I was never going to be me if she stayed in my life. It was just not going to happen.
And I wanted to just kind of emphasize how I think that applies to all of us. Because I think there are relationships in our life, whether it's a significant other, whether it's a relative, it could be anybody, but there are relationships in our lives that are set up as something to build strength in you. And you're going to have to choose what God has called you to do, as Pastor D and I have been talking about. You're going to have to choose either the good idea. The good idea feels good. It gives you the tingles. It gives you the zing, as you mentioned, right? Or the God idea. See, it's one of those situations where Adam had that moment that I think we all have, or we may have, or maybe we're in the midst of right now, and we're trying to get clarity on that situation right now. But when he told me that story, I thought it was so pertinent when it comes to your ID, because what Adam realized in his ID is who God had called him to be was a whole lot different than he was in pursuit of this person in this relationship. The pursuit of the relationship was going to cancel out who God had called him to be. And I want to give it up for my man for doing what he's got to do. Because tell him a little bit where you at now. How you feeling now? I mean, you feel...
Well, listen, with all recovery, it's always rough, right? But to add a little bit to that, like, after that happened, not even 3 days gone. Like, something happened in our friendship, in our life, that severed it forever. And like I said, it's a true recovery thing. I'm great now, but, you know, when it had happened, I was like, I had to cut it. So from where I was then to where I am now, completely different. Like, I'm getting ready to do my first real comedy club show coming up on the 29th, and
yeah,
I've had some.
Tell them about
other,
your Facebook page too. Your Facebook page.
Oh yeah. It's like, okay, so they always say if you want something, you know, announce it, call it out, and it's going to come. So it's called The Fans of Adam's Journey to his HBO special. So it's going to happen. It's just, you know, I'll take some time, I guess.
Absolutely. All right, brother. No, give it up for Adam Brewer, everybody. Thank you for sharing, brother. Appreciate you guys. Now, again.